Deputy Michael McNamara, 5 minutes.
Like previous speakers, I wish to commend the Minister for his reaction to this fodder crisis, in particular the fodder transport scheme, which was innovative and a very important measure and a very, very necessary measure. I'd like to also thank the Minister for extending the scheme till this Friday coming, the 10th of May, and for the clarification that fodder which is purchased in advance of that date will be covered by the scheme. I think it's an important measure. I think that crises of this scale require a novel approach, and they require people to work together. I think nowhere, in the country was that maybe more on display than in Shannon Airport a couple of weekends ago, and I do wish to commend the new management of Shannon Airport and Clare IFA for the work that was done down there. I don't know whether members of the House are aware, but the 300, the land bank which surrounds Shannon Airport was harvested, and over 1,000 bales were harvested in one weekend and distributed by the IFA through their networks to farmers across Clare, many of whom were in fairly dire need of that. It was, it was very encouraging in these very difficult times across the country to see people working together on something, to see people working together where there's no immediate benefit to themselves, but where they realise that they can help somebody else and just go and do it. And I would single out Clare IFA for the work that they did in that. And if, like members of the IFA across Ireland, similarly, when the IFA worked in gritting roads during the crisis, they did it at a very, very busy time for themselves. They did it for no gain and for no reward other than to help their neighbours. That said, the fodder crisis for this year is over, or almost over. It's next year that we do need to worry about. And I know very few farmers in East Clare, and East Clare wasn't as badly affected as West Clare, who have any land closed now at this point for silage for next year. Ordinarily a first cut would be coming in a couple of weeks' time. They simply haven't had an opportunity to close land yet. So it is, barring a miracle, it is almost inevitable that there will be a fodder crisis next year, and we need to start working for that now. I would commend and thank Fianna Fáil for raising this issue. I think it's very important that we do so. That said, I don't agree that we need to establish a special unit in the department to oversee and coordinate. I think the days of special units have come and gone, and we've had a lot of special units set up in this country who delivered very little. We have a minister who is paid and has the honour of being a Minister for Agriculture. And, Minister, you simply need to add this to your very many priorities and make sure it's done. Make sure we are prepared for next year, because there's every possibility, as Deputy Coyne alluded to and as many of the speakers in the Fine Gael benches and indeed the opposition benches have alluded to, there's every possibility that there will be more stock in the country than there's fodder for next year, particularly if we don't have ideal weather conditions. But there's one particular initiative, Minister, which I'd like to commend you for, and that's getting live exports moving again, getting boats leaving Ireland with live exports, because, as Deputy Coyne said, beef prices were relatively high through the winter. So for those who were able to, and many farmers weren't able to plan, no farmer anticipates that their cattle are going to starve. So some weren't able to plan it, but for those who were, there were relatively, or who could afford the meal, and Deputy Healy-Rae has alluded to the increasing prices in meal, but for those who were able to plan and were able to afford it, there were high beef prices. One of the few things that the Minister has at his disposal to keep the beef factories honest, or to keep them on a straight line to make sure that they don't just pull the prices at every available opportunity, is a live export trade, and a proper live export trade. And I'm very glad to see that the Minister has ensured that the live export trade is now commencing again in this country, and we will have boats leaving Ireland to make sure that there isn't just one avenue for our beef, and that is the processors, that there is a second option available to farmers. Thank you.